then you become general manager after the end of the 07 season. You become general manager, but you felt like that was one of your worst career moves.
Yeah.
So help me understand. You get an idea through the suspension of, hey man, I'm missing some things. Something's got to give. Got to make a change. But you make the change and regretted it. What would you have preferred happen?
Well, you get put in a job where you end up with a lot of responsibility but not much authority. It makes it tough.
Yeah.
And I think when I took over that job, I had a lot of vision to build things, change things. Saw it from a crew chief's perspective. I wanted to set it up so the other crew chiefs had a whole different process, and I wanted to do a lot of things that not everybody wanted to do, and I think that I didn't fit in as well as I needed to or wanted to.
That's fascinating, man, because you've been there almost 8 years now. Won a championship. You've got everybody.
Well, Dale, it's like the first thing I wanted to do is, pit stops at that. To this day, pit stops are still very important, and you wanted to do something at that time. I wanted to have our own pit stop area with everything we needed to have in it. So
which every team has today.
Yes, and I went back and if you think about it, Roush was one of the very first ones to do that. So I went back and I put this whole thing together and I gave it to Jack and said, here's what I'd like to do, and as soon as we. He would come in on Tuesdays. As soon as we started with the bulldozers and moving stuff around, Jack came into my office and flipped the gasket that I was down there building this pit stop area. And you'll laugh about it. I mean, he threw stuff around in my office and hollered, and it was kind of like, this is the job you gave me. I laid it all out. I showed you what it's going to cost. Here it all is. You okayed it. Now you're not happy with it. And it was kind of like, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
And to this day, if you drive by that pit stop area, it has Reiser Way on it, because Jack put a sign out there that says Robbie Reiser gets his way, and that's why I put that sign out there.
Yeah.
And there were some things with the cars that weren't right, and we tried to change, and it was expensive at the time, but we were also able to recoup some of that money by selling parts off and changing things out, and not everybody was happy with that. And it was kind of like, what do I do here? Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I not supposed to be doing this? And I just never really fit into that. You know what I mean? I didn't really, and a lot of it's probably my fault. I didn't take on a leadership role correctly, maybe.
In which way?
In a way that I didn't incorporate everybody. I probably didn't use the team as well as I needed to. I probably just, in some ways, you use, like an old bullhead. You just go and do this and do this and do this, and this is how this will work, and you make that happen. And in a lot of cases, this was a company that was kind of in transition too. You got to look at it that way. It was driven by Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, and it was a hardcore racing company. Yeah. I mean, and it was, if you came there to race.
What was the big start of the transition?
I think when management, one group of management retired and they brought in the new management, I think that new management wanted a whole different culture than what was there. And sometimes you can't be what you're not. And I think
so true.
I think that hardcore racing company was structured one way, and the management seemed to want to do it a different way. And obviously Jack was had gone through some injuries, and I think medically he was changing a little bit too, and that transition at that time I just didn't do a very good job of doing the right things and building a team around all that. I ended up doing trying to do a lot of it myself, and you just can't. One man can't make a big difference in a big company like that.
How difficult was it to leave Roush?
Not that difficult. I pretty much had my fill.
You went from 08 to 16. You were the GM. I mean, 8 years. That's a long time.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
And I appreciated all the opportunities and all the things that were given to me. I just wish I could have did a better job. I mean, I had to live through Matt not staying. I had to live through Carl not staying.
Did they have? Were they trying to give you any parting advice?
Well, I think
Was Matt like, "Hey, man, I'm getting out of here"?
No, Matt was not like that, and I think Matt's situation. I'd rather have him talk for it because
sure.
It's really his deal. But I think at the end of the day, Matt didn't feel wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he would probably tell you that. They kind of his contract was up, and they just didn't maybe took it for granted. I don't know. But I went to him 3 times separately and said, "Hey, we got to do something here. We got, this is, you got to pay attention to this." And it was like, at the end, sometimes I think to in my own opinion, I think that they let him go.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, you just don't let that caliber of driver sit.
Right. Yeah. And so you end up going to work for Brad Keselowski. I didn't even know you did that. So you left Roush at 2016. Brad's starting this manufacturing company, which is really going well.
Yes, he gave me a call. I'm gonna have to. I think it was the end of 18. He gave me a call around Christmas.
Yeah,
and he told me,
what did you do for a couple years?
Well, he left me a message. He said, "Hey, this is Brad Keselowski. I'd like to talk to you about a job. Give me a call."
Yeah, but you said 2018 or so. You'd been out of work. You'd left Roush, and what'd you just do? You just kind of hang out for a while?
I just worked on my own projects and did my own thing. And then, if somebody needed something, contract labor or whatever, I'd go do it and, farm myself out a little bit like that. But nothing racing related. I just did fab work and concrete work or whatever was somebody needed help with. If a little old lady down the street needed her chimney sealed, I'd go down and seal it for her. I did, stuff like that. Yeah. And then when Brad called me, he left me that message, and I'm like, there is no way I'm calling him back. I do not want to do this, go back racing.
Yeah.
And so he called me again a week later and left me a message and was more detailed about what he wanted to do. And I was like, well, my background is all production building from the trailer company. I'll give him a call and see what he wants to do. So I went up there and I saw, a lot of innovative stuff with the 3D printing and, a lot of different materials, the titanium and Inconel and all that type of stuff and the machine work that went with it. And it was really interesting. And I was like, man, I want to do this. Mm. So I went up and worked for him for close to 3 years as a production manager, helping him get the business started up and going.
Yeah. And so why'd you leave?
You're going to laugh at me, but when he came and decided he was going to go work at, be part owner at Roush, I decided that I didn't want to be a part of that. I already done that. I have worked with that group of people, and
Is his manufacturing company going to have any involvement with Roush, though?
Well, he started by telling me that it wouldn't. But I kind of knew how things work, and I thought that they would cross lines. And I just, Dale, I just didn't want to put myself through that one more time. I just, if people lose confidence in you and you aren't the guy, why do it a second time?
Yeah.
And I just thought,
you feel like you feel like that your feelings are still a bit hurt by that? The fact that they left that impression on you that
I think that I've stepped back and watched them struggle for a lot of years. So I think my feelings aren't hurt anymore. Yeah. I mean, I think that, what I had said before, that it was a hardcore racing business. I think that they should have stayed the hardcore racing business and kept doing what they were doing. And to watch them falter like they did and have to go hire Matt or hire Brad to come in and straighten things out. I think it's you stand back and say, well, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you got your experience that you need now.
Do you think, knowing Brad, having worked with him in the manufacturing business, you think he's going to be the missing piece of the puzzle to get that thing going in the right direction? I don't know as much as you do, but watching it from my perspective, I feel really good about Brad's influence.
Yes, Brad is very good at getting the pieces and everything organized to operate. And I think that Brad has a big say in the company because he does understand the simulation and how important it is, because in the machining business it's very important. And it's no different than stock car racing. It's all married together. So I think the experiences that he's going through, he understands them, and he's able to take what they have there and direct it in the right places. Because when I was involved, the OEM was very involved in Roush, more than probably any other racing business, and that was a part I wanted to change. I wanted Roush to be its own identity in some of that, and on the outside people didn't want to do that, and that I think Brad is going to be able to do that with what he's got going, and it was my decision not to be a part of what he had going there. I mean, I think he really questioned me. We had a pretty good discussion. He really questioned me, and I said, Brad, let me put it this way: is there somebody in the garage you don't like? He says, yeah, I don't like Kyle Busch. I says, okay, I don't like them. That's the way it is. You aren't going to do something with him. I'm not going to do something with these and that. And we left on good terms. And he gives me a call every once in a while and checks on me, makes sure that I don't want to come back and work.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense. It does.
I wonder though, Robbie. You say, you would tell Brad that you don't like them and you don't want to go work anywhere in their vicinity, right? But they're part of your DNA, they're part of your story, and so at some point, right, you have to come to some common ground for yourself, right? Because think about everything that happens for Roush going forward with Brad, the success that they're liable to have, more than likely to have, the resurgence, right? There'll be moments when they'll have, they'll celebrate their own past, which is you. And you're gonna, if I was standing in your house on the day of those moments, I would be kicking you in the butt out the door to go and be a part of that, part of that memory.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think, you don't have to do it today, but I think at some point you've got to figure out a way where that's comfortable for you.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay. But, I would tell you that, growing up in racing, being a part of racing as much as I was, and to do all the things he did for a company for almost 20 years, the end should be different.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
maybe it's not. Maybe it's the end's not there yet.
Yeah, maybe it's not there. But at the end of the day, I just, that it just didn't end the way it should have ended.
I'm with you, Robbie. Hey, I just don't agree with that.
I hear you, and I mean, I if I was Robbie, I certainly would probably feel the same way. But I think gosh, you can't go all the way to your deathbed with that harboring that.
That's fair, but I don't know. I look at it as almost like a marriage, and if you have now. At some point, it becomes so personal, whether it's a company or something else, that it's beyond just the. It gets beyond it goes beyond depths, and I think that it was like a marriage that you got crushed because it's almost like your marriage fell apart because it changed so much, and now it's gone so far a direction that now. When somebody comes back to go, hey, can you come back and fix this marriage? Well, no. I was there to try to fix it, and you didn't want me then.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just perfectly natural human tendency to maybe you can still want them to succeed, and you can still want Brad to succeed, but I could understand not wanting to be a part of that.
I think, here's the thing. I think when we started over there, Mark Martin was a big part of what we did, and Mark Martin really championed us the whole time. And, when there's change involved, you have to either change with it or you have to get out.
Yeah.
And I think in my case, I had to get out because it wasn't what I envisioned, and everybody was pushing so hard that it was the evil empire, and it was, so hard to work there, and it was all this and all that. Well, hell, how hard was it to work there? I mean, you're running for a championship and winning races every damn week. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, you want to work somewhere where you're going to win. It's going to be challenging at times, and there's going to be hard discussions at times, and you're going to have to get faced with things. I mean, 2008, when you look at that company, it had 14 race teams in it, between trucks, Xfinity, and Cup cars. Plus, we also went and did cars for other companies. Mm-hmm. There was a time in 2009 or 10, I can't remember what it was anymore, but we shipped out 36 cars that week. 36 cars go racing between all of the backups and the primaries and all of that. Yeah. So think about that.
That's crazy.
That was every week. That was every week you had you know, and that group is all the way back to 2 teams now. I mean, it's and they're smart by backing up and getting smaller, because that way you can control it and bring it back.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. But I mean, this company was large. And I remember one guy saying to me one time, he says, "Man, we seem to have meetings all day long." Well, when you got 14 teams, yes, you're gonna have driver debriefs. I mean, from the truck race to the Xfinity race to the Cup race. I mean, it just snowballs.
Hey, if you like that video, like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another piece of Dirty Mo Media content.